It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. IPW Breakdown is on your screens. We've got six big boy bouts, and they're all going to be epic, filled to thrill. Strap on in as we head into our opener here tonight. Well, it's only fitting we kick off this week's episode of Breakdown how we ended last week's episode with CM Punk entering the ring. Last week he was victorious in his main event battle with the former number one contender Zack Sabre Jr. It's interesting, Punk starting to cut a promo here, saying he deserves to be number one, but this man, the outsider Kevin Nash, may have a different opinion to voice here. Obviously, the resolution case holder winning that briefcase a few months ago at City Limit. Sorry, at Resolve, I should say. In that ladder match, granting him an opportunity at the World Championship whenever he deems. And well, Punk. Oh, a big right hand with the microphone. He drops the big sexy, but Nash with a right of his own. These two going toe to toe. Here to start off tonight's episode of Breakdown, the crowd behind Punk. But he has just been dropped by Kevin Nash in a big lariat to drop him once again. Nash, we know, brings a big, powerful game. Punk, obviously, more known for that technical wrestling prowess, the ability to battle, whether it's submission wrestling, high-flying offense, and obviously that knockout power with the GTS. The maneuver that he utilized to pick up the victory last week against Zack Sabre Jr., but right now he is being tossed about with ease here by Big Sexy. A boot there's going to bust open. Punk, who gets the knees up to stop the splash from Nash. Nash, though, takes the back and plants down Punk. Well, these two have gone squared up to one another here tonight to kick off this episode of Breakdown. It'll be interesting to see what comes from it and what Solo Sikoa decides to do with these two. Well, from that interesting start to the show, we head to the Tag Team Classic Eliminator. AOP last week netted themselves a hefty victory over LFI, Legado del Fantasma. And tonight, Paul Ellering's leading the boys out for a difficult challenge. The competition steps up as they face a couple of good brothers, as Akam and Rezar look ready for this matchup.
The following contest is a Tornado Tag Team match. On the way to the ring, accompanied by Paul Ellery at a combined weight of 620 pounds, Akam and Rezar, authors of pain.
If you somehow missed the entire tournament going on here on Primetime and Breakdown, we have tag teams battling against one another in eliminator matchups. We have seeded the best teams across both brands And tonight, AOP faces the higher seed of the Good Brothers. Recently picked up some big victories of their own. The other matchup tonight sees American Made as the higher seed take on DIY. That will be an interesting co-main event that we'll get to soon enough, but the winner of this matchup, it's still undecided as to who they will face. It's either going to be the Outlaws in Jesse James and Road Dogg, or
and their opponents at a combined weight of 505 pounds, the team of Carl Anderson and Lou Gallows.
or they will face the New Day, the former #1 contenders to the Usos Tag Team Championship. Now remember, the winner on either side of this tournament joins the Usos in a matchup at Cash Out, a triple threat tornado tag team battle, which certainly will put the Usos to the test. I'd say their hardest matchup as champions that they will ever have to face, but you look at the big exclamation point, or the glaring point of this tournament so far, obviously came on Tuesday night in our second Tag Team Classic Eliminator matchup, where the Headbangers and A-Town Down Under, a double pinfall, while the referee awarded the win to the Headbangers. IPW official Eve Torres said it was a double pin, ergo there was no winner of the matchup. As such, both teams advanced to face Team 3D on Tuesday next week, which certainly is an interesting matchup between, well, those three teams, as kind of probably the biggest warm-up you're going to get to potentially have when Cash Out will feature a triple threat tornado tag match. But as we focus in on round 2 here on the breakdown side of things, the Good Brothers have currently been flattened here by AOP. Paul Ellering's going to remove that top turnbuckle, and Razor has a kendo stick and he's going to bust open Carl Anderson with it. Swirly there from Akam. Does drop his partner, gives the big LG an opportunity to strike, but Gallows not going to be able to get really anything out of it, and in fact he was launched out the ring. Razor's followed him out there and is currently being attacked. Meanwhile, Anderson, utilizing Paul Ellering's maneuver, sends Akam into that exposed steel ring where the turnbuckle pad has been removed. Once again, another kendo stick in play as Fuckbuster connects from Gallows. Akam's on the ropes, and Paul Ellering's trying to throw a baseball bat into the ring there. A little interesting maneuver there. And Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers, in control right now. And honestly, last week was pretty interesting. In fact, it was nice to see AOP pick up a victory in this tournament. Something this team's really struggled to find is some success in recent times. Obviously, since losing the best of 5 series to Trick Bounce, they have kind of fallen to the wayside in the tag division. Looking now to recover, go back on the offensive, try and lay claim to being a top team here in IPW, warranting a shot at the belt. They have to go through, I would say, arguably the easier side of the bracket. I'd say that comparative to what there is on Primetime, is that chokeslam going to come into effect and give a pinfall attempt here over to Razor. Didn't get the win, but has Gallows potentially on the rope. This is the chokeslam, brings him down. It was more of a spine buster, I believe, the original maneuver. Anderson breaks up that pinfall attempt, avoids the grasping shot of Akam, who utilized the hammer to pick up a victory last week. That maneuver certainly has done wonders for Akam and Razor. As well, for a second there, I thought he was going for it again, but instead it was a reverse body slam. Will up for the cover, gets a 2 count here, does Akam, as he's now looking to crush Gallows. The kick connects, and this is that maneuver we've talked about. Up on the shoulders and drop down with the hammer. Pinfall attempt. Gallows and Anderson could be in danger of losing. A near fall there. Almost gave AOP that opportunity to face a team in the quarterfinals of this tag team classic. Gallows and Anderson now have isolated Akam. Anderson's going to be the one to deliver the punishment. Razor eats a kendo stick outside the ring as Anderson onto the shoulders. Hits the cutter. Pops him into it. Razor's going to drop the big LG, but can he get in the ring in time? The answer's no. Anderson had a near fall there in his favor. Nice dropkick to knee as it's the machine gun taking on both members of the AOP right now, waiting for Gallows to get back in. And Gallows is back in, which means Razor's the target. Isolated in the ring, up on the shoulders of the big LG. The fireman's carry fought out of here by Razor. Gallows fighting back out of Razor's grasp. What a belly to belly. Overhead toss. The end result there that favors Razor. Oh, steel steps thrown, but not going to be able to connect onto Anderson, sorry. Side Russian leg sweep, though, will connect onto Razor from the machine gun. Gallows and Akam return to the ring. Big boot by the big LG. Gonna send Akam for a run. Power slamming him down into the mat. The Good Brothers doling out the punishment now, but Paul Ellering getting involved here. Keeping the matchup alive as both members of the AOP back to their feet. Razor's going to catch Anderson, who is distracted. Nice Saito suplex. Chokeslam missing. Gallows, though, won't. Picks him up and drops him down with the fuckbuster. Anderson now lining up Razor. Picks him up. Drops him, busts him open. Pinfall attempt. Both pinned for the Good Brothers. And no, nearly a kick out in time for both of them. We almost had shades of Tuesday night there, but obviously it would not have mattered who got the pin, because both the Good Brothers were in the pin position there. So it would have been a dominant victory for Gallows and Anderson. Ellering distracting Anderson again, setting up for Akam to capitalize on the situation. Sends Anderson flying, and he rolls out the ring. Razor dropping Gallows inside, goes for the cover. A count comes through, and they get it! My word. The AOP are advancing to next week. Well, I've got a feeling there are a couple of outlaws in their path. Honestly, I had a feeling as this match went on that it was gonna go to the Good Brothers. Let's be honest, Gallows and Anderson had a very dominant performance towards the tail end. They controlled the ring and realistically caused havoc to the AOP. But again, we'll have to see how this match ended as to how Gallows was unable to kick out, what put him down for the count. Because realistically, the maneuvers hit by the Good Brothers should have realistically sealed the deal. Here's that pinfall. No maneuver? No, we don't get to see how he gets flattened out. Well, with that in mind, AOP advance to next week's quarterfinals against the Outlaws. Can they earn victory there as well? Well, this is certainly a surprise to hear this song on Breakdown. But it's understandable why it is being played, as the tag champs are making their way to the ring for action here on Breakdown.
The following is a tag team match set for one fall. On the way to the ring, the undisputed Women's World Tag Team Champions, Jack Man, Nick S, and JCG, Fatal Influence.
Well, it's understandable why they're here. Last week, they surprised everyone by coming out and attacking the Bella Twins after their match. And well, surprise, surprise, Fatal Influence are looking to strike true here on Breakdown and earn a big-time victory. Not against the team they attacked. Oh, no. Solo Sikoa keeping us away from that matchup for now. Instead, it's a little bit of what we like to call a metaphor. It's like one of the newest and coolest teams in IPW.
And their opponents, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend Metaphor.
As the creepy fingers come out, as Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson set to compete and are given quite a big opportunity here. Obviously, the Meta 2 absent from the women's tag team tournament to crown the initial tag champs. But tonight, they've got an opportunity. They get to go toe-to-toe with those that hold the championship. And Fatal Influence, happy to give them a shot. Obviously, this is a non-title matchup, but they now have an opportunity to show they deserve the shot. Obviously, Lash Legend recently netting a massive victory against Becky Lynch. She tonight can look to go on a very victorious sort of path, as she can beat another person with a bit of, well, gold or items here in IPW. Because don't forget, like what we saw previously with Kevin Nash, she is the resolution case holder. Now, Lash earned a big victory there against Lynch, who we haven't seen since compete in IPW. Watching honors. Oh, a big lariat there. Wasn't expecting JC to come rolling through the bottom rope, but still able to do so as she paintbrushes Jakara. Now, the tag champions, JC Jane, Jasmine Nix, a very solid unit in the women's division, as we are aware. Very solid in tandem offense, as well as the Irish Whip comes through in stereo. Hip toss and then the boots across the chest and back of Jakara Jackson connect. Nix, a lot more prolific in terms of striking. Likes to use her soccer background to deliver these sorts of PKs or roundhouses and just stomp the competition into the mat. As for JC Jane, a little bit more well-rounded with her striking game, as she likes that rolling encore finish. She does also possess quite a bit of power, but I wouldn't say it's power that would match up to the likes of Lash Legend. Speaking of the Meta 2, Jakara and Lash certainly bring some unique style. Obviously Lash, the power. Jakara, a lot more speed and high-flying type of maneuvers. Speaking of high-flying, the elbow drop from the top there from JC Jane as she goes for the cover. Gonna get a 2 here on Jakara Jackson. Forces Lash into the picture to break that one up. And this is smart wrestling by Fatal Influence. They have isolated Jakara Jackson inside the ring. And Jakara, wisely now, given a little bit of time and opportunity, going for the tag to bring in Lash Legend. Lash scooping up JC Jane. Plants her with that back breaker. I'm gonna maybe dominate JC here. Slamming her into the mat. Some heavy offense here from JC Jane. Puts Jakara, well, Lash in the corner, tag in. Uppercut from Lash. And she's got Jakara on her shoulders. This could not be good for JC Jane, because Jakara drops the elbow from up top. Jane makes the tag though. She escapes danger. Oh, rolling elbow from Jasmine Nix, and then a pump kick. Beautifully executed. Nix back on the offensive. Stomping away into Jakara. Takes the back. Oh no. Knees to the face. Interesting maneuver there from Nix. I thought for a minute there she was going to go inverted DDT, but no. Instead, hits the knees into the face. A Liv Morgan-esque maneuver. Obviously, something that Nix and Jane don't typically get to see is Liv Morgan competing on the regular here on Breakdown. Nix sent flying, though, on the outside. As well, Jakara chases her outside. Hits that leaping forearm smash. And is going to potentially punish Jasmine Nix here. Slamming that head into the floor. Referee, Big Man Gragathi, issuing the count as that's a beautiful DDT coming in from Jakara. We're up to 4. We've reached the halfway mark of that count. Jakara keeps breaking it though, which means, oh, it's a spinning heel kick connects. That came from out nowhere from Nix. Trying to go roundhouse again as Jakara stuck on a barricade. Oh, big lariat. That short arm shot. Giving Nix an advantage in this situation. Sends Jakara back into the ring. Nyx is lining up a shot here. Not going to go flying. Instead, grappling? No. Sent running herself into Meta 4 territory. Lash Legend now back into the ring. And maybe now she gets to go on the offensive. She is dropped to ringside here by Jasmine Nyx. Nyx, as you're aware, very much a woman who likes to stay on the offensive. Hits that big knee. Not slowing down to deal with Legend here. Turns her back to the ring. Fatal Influence well and truly have been in control of this matchup since minute 1, basically. Pinfall attempt here. Nyx trying to earn the victory, but a kick out given here by Lash. But Legend needs to really escape. Well, avoids the big maneuver there. Nyx not going to be able to connect. Instead, she's sent into Metaphor territory. Tag made. Jakara back into the picture. And, well, this is looking very much like what we just saw from them. Off the shoulders of Lash Legend. It's not going to be the elbow. It's instead a rolling senton. Connecting with ease. And do you know what's actually interesting to see here? Fatal Influence haven't brought their manager out here. No Kiana James. It is just the duo of Jasmine Nyx and JC Jane here to realistically deal with the breakdown competition. No backup needed, it seems. And that's something that's you've got to know, because these two, well, Fatal Influence as a whole, always like to have each other's back. And this might be the back being controlled as Jakara wheelbarrow. And there's the cutter. Beautifully executed. Meta 4 going for the cover. JC Jane enters the ring. Gonna break it up and clobber our referee here. Big man Gregathy taken out. But Lash, she's looking to take out Nyx. Tag made again. Referee, his voice was made there. Realizes the tag had happened. And once again, Jakara on the shoulders of Legend. Hits that rolling senton. That swanton bomb type maneuver. Keeping the pressure rolling here onto Jasmine Nyx. Nyx, who we've realistically had control for towards the start of the match, has kind of lost it. Needs to really make a tag out to JC. Hits the big knee. And that's going to be enough time bought to allow Jane to come in and have the ability to target Jakara Jackson without any real struggle. Puts her in Fatal Influence territory. Snapmare. Nyx, boot to the face. Gonna mount as well. And while Nyx did make the tag out, she's back in immediately. And this could be a mistake from the champs, giving Fatal Metaphor an opportunity to potentially capitalize on a weakened Jasmine Nyx. Nyx, who we know has been busted open earlier on in this match, has returned the favor onto Jakara Jackson. This is wise from Nyx. Bring her into fatal territory as the tag comes through. Rolls her through, and these two are meeting in the middle. The knee and boot connect. Jakara's down. Lash is in, though. And she breaks it up, keeping the match alive for the Metaphor. Oh, big pump kick misses there for JC, who instead eats a drop kick from Jakara. Jackson hits the cutter, catching Jane with it. Down for the count is the champion, who kicks out in time. Jane, though, needs to kick out once more as Jakara's utilizing the ropes to get an advantage. Jane out at one, but eats an inverted facebuster. Legs hooked. Pinfall attempt. Could this be it? No. JC kicking out in time. The champions, though, reeling. But JC not going to allow Jakara to escape this matchup. Avoids the slap. But she's sent running again into metaphor territory. Fights out of it once more. Tries to strike back. Avoids Jakara's second shot, but no. Scooped up. Jakara's just going to punish the champ here. Goes for the cover. One. And a kick out. Jane very fresh. Able to kick out of that situation, but and the woman that's probably even fresher is Lash Legend, who's now in the picture, into the ring. Trying to take down Jane, but Jane fights back to her feet. Rolling pump kick. Connecting. Jane baits in the target to hit the big shot. And now I've got to think that JC's probably going to look to end Lash Legend here. Rolling encore could be coming. Maybe something else rolling. Is through the ropes. Caught though. Yet again, JC trying to go for something big. Not able to land the shot, but Lash, she gets the tag. Wheelbarrow position, the champ in trouble. Hit with the cutter. And the pin fall comes through for Jakara Jackson. And JC immediately forced to kick out. The danger too high there. As Metaphor really are putting on a good showing here against the champs. What the flip do we just witness? Whatever it was, neither woman got the better of that situation. Jakara, though, back into the ring. Busts open JC. JC and Nyx both been busted open. Avoids the chop there. JC's really not trying to go for offense. Instead, going to eat a jaded from Jakara. JC really unable to get any offense rolling. Fights out the corner once more. Pump kick connects this time. Not going to allow the tag out as well. JC needs to look to end this. Sent though into Fatal Influence territory. Cutter or neck breaker off the ropes. Wisely, JC Jane rolls to the outside. Escapes the punishment that could be coming her way. Jakara trying to take it to Jasmine Nyx. Nyx not going to allow it. But there's two shots that follow. No. Pushed off is Jakara. Avoids the shot there, does JC, but the second shot not going to be avoided. Instead, STO from Jakara Jackson flattening JC Jane. And this is not a good situation for the champs. Especially knowing that the Bella Twins more than likely watching this situation unfold. Jane tries to hit the neck break and misses wildly. Lash Legend might make her pay. Sent for a ride, but JC out the grasp. Hurricane Rana from JC Jane. Pulling out all the stops here is the champion. Code breaker as well. Finally, a tag out for JC Jane. Brings Nyx back in, who's had a bit of time now to recover. Sends Lash running. Superman punch connects. Flattening Lash Legend. She goes for the cover. Jakara Jackson forced to break it up. Nyx hooks up Jakara on the shoulder. Gun stunter. Nyx now back focused on Lash. Sends her into fatal territory. And there's the tag that's needed. Because it's time for the champs to meet in the middle. Boss open Lash Legend. Jakara is out of the picture. 1, 2, no! Fatal Influence. I thought that was enough. Isolating Lash Legend. But still, the champs need a little more. A little something to sweeten the deal. End the match for themselves. Nyx, springboard, moonsault misses. Lash gonna make her pay. Sends her to the metaphor corner, but not going to get the tag out that she desires. Sent back to Fatal Influence territory. And no, it's not going to be a meet in the middle for a final climactic maneuver. Instead, it's a backdrop. A high elevation maneuver, but Lash Legend makes the tag. Discus. Pump kick connects. Jakara's flattened. Lash is out of the picture. That's a ball game. No. JC Jane swinging for the fences. Needs Nyx in to swing further than the fences to the bleachers, I guess. Off the second rope goes Nyx, hitting that axe handle. Going for the cover. Lash into the ring. Breaks it up, though. The tag champs. They've seized control of the situation. A punt kick connects there for Nyx. But Jakara still fighting. Still swinging. Gets the tag. She's going to wheelbarrow Jasmine. And the cutter from Lash. Is that enough to seal the deal? JC not coming in. Comes in a little late. But the kick out from Jasmine Nyx. Showcasing a champion's resiliency. And this matchup's still rolling on. Nyx fights out the corner. Nice kicks there. And a follow-up to drop Lash. And now a big time knee off the skull of Lash Legend there. And she's sent into a territory she doesn't want to be in, because JC and Nyx are going to meet in the middle. Pinfall attempt. Jakara breaking it up. JC, I think, has had enough. Rolling, no! No encore just yet. We've still got the main performance to enjoy, and Lash Legend might be delivering the killing blow. A big thrust kick to the face. Gets a kick out in time. My word, these ladies throwing caution to the wind now. Just looking for the home run shot. JC caught in the corner. Rolling encore attempted again, but Lash dropping the champ. Hooks her up. Air raid crash. JC Jane down and out. No! There is no way that the champ kicked out of that. How much more punishment can they take? Metaphor, make a tag. Jakara's in the ring. Hits the cutter. Goes for the pin. JC's down. And that's not it. JC getting back up. Another tag. Another wheelbarrow cutter. Surely that's the ball game. Yes. So much resiliency shown by the champs. But when you can't finish off a non-factor team, questions start to raise. But let's be honest, the resiliency shown there by JC Jane, it's insanity. How many of the big maneuvers she kicked out of from the metaphor. But this does raise the question, is it the right team potentially getting the shot at Fatal Influence? I've got a feeling the metaphor might now have their stakes into our cash out women's tag team championship match. That we'll have to see. And to what Solo Sikoa and Eve Torres do, because bear in mind, they're having to work together to cause this matchup to happen here. Bear in mind, Fatal Influence are a part of Primetime. And you have to think, when they return to Tuesday night, the double champ Fallon Henley might have a few stern words.
Here are your winners, Jakara Jackson and Last Legend Meta 4.
For JC and Jasmine. But until then, we've got to give props where they're due. Meta 4 earned a big victory here tonight. Well, from one women's match, we head to another. But it is no longer a focus on tag team action, as the Empress of Tomorrow makes her way to the ring.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring, representing Damage Control from Osaka, Japan,
Asuka and her opponent realistically want to go and reach winning ways here on Breakdown. The women's division on this side of IPW has certainly been a bit more up in the air, is the best way to word it. Challengers have been more frugal, as Liv Morgan has realistically just issued open challenges, and whoever wants to step up to the plate, they can do. But the thing is, those challenges have worked out for absolutely no one, as the Ruby belt holder continues to defy any of her competition. But these two, well, they want a taste of championships here in IPW. The loser of the Who's Your Mommy match, the Eradicator, wants a taste of an Empress right now.
and her opponent from Adelaide, Australia, Rhea Ripley.
And that taste, it's oh so good if Rhea can earn it. If she can beat the Empress of Tomorrow, attention at the top of this division certainly needs to be shifted to Mommy once more. That being said, though, there is a hungry, irresistible force bearing down the neck of the champion. And that is not good for anyone who is in the hunt for championships here in IPW, especially in the Breakdown Women's Division. So Rhea and Asuka are probably going to have to be on high alert, with Nia Jax stalking around that top spot. Now, that being said, Nia will be in action in our main event, so she's definitely in the building and definitely will have her eyes on this battle here, as Asuka takes an early advantage. These two ladies tie up in the center of the ring, collar and elbow. I would typically say the power game favors Rhea, but Asuka getting the better of the first tie-up. Our second one now, and Asuka's got quite a deep grasp on the neck of Ripley. And Rhea's got to take advantage of it. The arm further away from the body means that it's easier for Rhea to grab a hold of and apply pressure to it. Wrist lock applied pretty deep here by the Eradicator. Position reversed though here is Asuka. Taking Rhea's hand hostage. Tearing at Mommy's wrist as well as that bicep muscles. Ripley fighting out of the grasp of Asuka as once again both ladies a deep grasp on one another. Rhea finally getting to show her power game, but Asuka wise to the follow-up shot, shoots her own. Nice spinning back fist connecting onto Ripley. And then a big time right drops Mommy to the mat. Beautiful dropkick missing there for Asuka as Rhea. Roll-up attempt, schoolgirl. Goes for the cover and a kick out from Asuka. Gonna turn it into her own bridges over Rhea. Down for a one, not even a one. As Ripley, backslide, takes advantage of the situation and neither woman staying down for long. As kickouts before one are echoed through each of their motions. Spinning heel kick misses there for Asuka as Rhea. Back on the offensive. Nice jawbreaker there. Asuka gonna follow suit with a boot to the face, and these two ladies showing why they are at the top of this division. Two very creative stars. Nice double knees to the back there for Asuka. And if you're Rhea, you're kind of trying to avoid the grasp of Asuka. Trying to keep her away from you. Going in on the offensive as Asuka. Big boots and then a heel kick connecting. Dropping Mommy. Going for the cover here. Hooks the leg. It's quite a deep pin. But does not pin down the arms, giving Rhea the opportunity to kick out. And lift them to avoid the situation. Mommy. Missing a drop kick as Asuka tours the corner to hit her own beautiful drop kick. Rhea needs to really find an avenue of attack that will work for her, but this might not be it as Asuka up, over. Nice inverted suplex. Goes for the cover. And only gets a one. Asuka now beginning to wear down the body. Asuka obviously known for that Asuka lock, but also does bring out arm bars from time to time, so Rhea needs to be wary of the situation she may find herself in. This situation right here is never good for anyone on the receiving end of those kicks. Daniel Bryan-esque as Mommy. Uh-oh, Asuka, you see the pain in her face as the electric chair just delivers a face buster. Rhea's found her chance to attack. And she's going on the full throttle offensive. Big boot misses. Asuka takes the back. Gonna send Mommy running. Spinning heel kick misses as the Eradicator hooks up the Empress of Tomorrow for Riptide. Slams her down and goes for the cover. 1, 2, no. Kick out given here by the Empress of Tomorrow, but I think Mommy's got a little bit more that she's willing to dish out here to Asuka. Calls her up to just put her down. Less of a double foot to the face, more of just a single soul hitting the forehead of Asuka, who no-sells that situation, comes back with a German, and now has Mommy in a difficult place to be. But Mommy picks the legs and now is setting up Asuka. The boot connects and Mommy's going to deliver Asuka through a riptide. Plants her down, goes for the cover. 1, 2, and a kick out again by the Empress of Tomorrow. How in the world she does so is beyond me, but it means Rhea needs to do a little more to put away one and a half of the Kabuki Warriors. This might be what she needs. Hooks her up, scoops her down. Pinfall attempt because the third of the trio puts away Asuka. As that Riptide earns victory for Mommy. And that's a big victory to earn, because the Empress of Tomorrow is no easy opponent to beat. Looking at the match card tonight, this is certainly, I would say, the most difficult matchup for anyone on the card. And Mommy, well, she just dealt with it pretty emphatically. Asuka didn't even get a chance to go for the Asuka lock. She was already being powered through the air with the Riptides and the electric chair facebuster for her to really get a shot to lock in the Asuka lock. As we get to watch those maneuvers again, Rhea, this is a good win for her. A comeback win after obviously losing a couple weeks ago when she went down the rabbit hole. But now the question stands, if the Empress of Tomorrow isn't the top star or top contender for the Women's Championship, does this mean that Nia Jax, she's one step closer to facing Liv Morgan at Cash Out?
Here is your winner, Rhea Ripley.
That question may get answered down the line, but for now, Rhea Ripley victorious here. She'll probably be watching on for our main event. But before we get to that, our final tag eliminator tonight kicks off in a moment. Well, earlier tonight we had an upset in our Tag Classic Eliminator. DIY are looking to do the same thing as the lower seed for this one. As Gargano and Ciampa ready themselves for action.
The following contest is a tornado tag team match. On the way to the ring, at a combined weight of 400 pounds, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, DIY.
Well, DIY, certainly an interesting unit. They find success in situations that are dire. Side note, I really do not like Ciampa's jacket as it does not line up on that right shoulder. But enough of graphic design failures. Let's focus in on this matchup as, well, DIY will face off against American Made. A unit that's not coming out alone.
At a combined weight of 515 pounds, Brutus and Julius, the Creed brothers.
Backed up by Ivy Nile. The Creed brothers are going to be in a situation here where they get to do some pretty interesting things. Obviously a team that recently earned a big victory against Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay the former challenger as well as the current champion in the men's division. They cannonballed their way to a victory. And now, in a situation where the cannonball's not really an offensive maneuver that can be done in Tornado Tag, they get to go up against DIY. Two guys that are similar to, in a way, Zack Sabre and Will Ospreay. Two very strong singles guys, as they're both former NXT World Champions. The issue is, Gargano and Ciampa, also a very experienced tag team, both former tag champions across a multitude of different brands. Julius and Brutus, I believe, their accolades quite, well, dwindle in comparison to the DIY lineup. Now, the only solace for DIY and for American Made is they both bring backup here as Candice LeRae and Ivy Nile, both out here to really support their teams, which is interesting as Nile obviously did not come out with her championship that she won on Saturday down in the underground. As the reigning IPW Underground champion in the women's division, she has a long list of challenges potentially to step up to her. But you look at her record, it's certainly a deserved title to win. A similar sort of thing can be said for the men's Underground champion Kurt Angle. But as we focus our attention back on this tag match, it's a fairly even affair as a nice catch and release on that German suplex from Julius, sending Ciampa to maybe a bitter end, some may say. Julius sent into the corner. Ciampa. Oh, that is nasty. Just dropping his full body weight on the back of the knee. A super kick from Gargano's going to flatten Brutus. And this is DIY rolling a full head of steam, working together to isolate a member of American Made. Because as soon as Gargano goes for a cover, Ciampa's back on the offensive on Brutus. Julius is in trouble. Eats the Gargano kick. Johnny Gargano's looking to put an end to Julius as he super kicks him into a new existence. Gargano trying to go for the win here. Not going to go for the pin instead. Ankle picked. Julius Gargano escape, utilizing his opponent's finisher against him. Gargano, wise to how to escape it, manages to do so. Meanwhile, Brutus stopping Gargano again, sends him running, pop up, and flapjaps him. Tommaso Ciampa needs to pick up the pieces, goes for the cover himself, but Julius is into the picture to break it up. He leaves that corner. But Candice LeRae distracting Julius. It gives Gargano and Ciampa the opportunity to attack. Poison Rana from Gargano. A leaping clothesline from Ciampa. DIY. In this situation, you gotta feel in control, going for a pretty big dub. What an upset it would be if both the lower seeded teams win tonight. getting past some difficult competition. Gargano tries to go springboard, can't do so. Instead, it's Ciampa breaking up the efforts from Brutus, allowing Johnny to go on the offensive, and Johnny Wrestling's going swinging. Julius picks up Ciampa. Just a backdrop there, but he eats a super kick on the exit of that maneuver. Gargano counted the timing he needed to land it. Niall gonna send Ciampa back into the ring. Springboard from Gargano gonna miss Ciampa. That's Brutus hooked up, sent him into the corner. Gargano picks the ankle. He was trying to go Gargano, escape. Ciampa stomps that from happening. Instead, Fisherman's Buster from Ciampa drills Julius into the mat. Brutus trying to send Gargano out the picture. Instead, he's hooked up, caught in the Gargano escape. Ciampa keeping Julius out of the picture as Brutus, will he tap? The answer's no. As DIY edging closer to victory, Gargano and Ciampa, part of their meet in the middle, gonna come through there as the Lawn Dart connects. Cover from Gargano. Julius breaks it up, but for not much longer as well. Ciampa's got a baseball bat and he swung for the fences, forcing Julius out the picture, and now he's going to go end of heartache. Pinfall attempt and a kick out given there by Brutus. This is DIY's to lose, and Ciampa plants him again. End of heartache. Cover for the win. And there we have it. Julius had the opportunity to go and break it up. Instead, he lets the pin happen, and DIY earn the W. And that is a statement made that the seeding may have been incorrect for this tournament, because DIY and AOP, classed as lower seeds, earned the victory here tonight. I'm looking at the remainder of the bracket of the teams involved on both sides. Could you imagine? Motor City Machine Guns advancing past Gallus, as well as the winners of that 3D Headbangers and A-Town Down Under bout, to face off against DIY and the Usos. That would be one hectic, one fast-paced match, because this match, with just the Creed brothers, DIY elevated the tempo and just swung so hard at one another. As we see the ending sequence here, Gargano and Ciampa working together. A couple of end of heartaches from Ciampa ends the match.
Here are your winners, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, DIY.
And earned the victory to advance to face the New Day. That's a big bout there. But we've got one final bout tonight. Our main event is women's action, coming up to you right now. Well, we said she was in action tonight in the main event. And well, he is getting said main event entrance right now.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from San Diego, California, Nia Jax.
Last week, Nia Jax made a statement. Liv Morgan, I want you. I want to be the only woman to have held 3 different divisions belts. Sure, Fallon Henley has got 2, tied the record with Nia Jax. But Nia is the woman of first here in IPW. The only woman to win a Rumble. The only woman to have won.
And her opponent, representing Damage Control from Auckland, New Zealand, Dakota Kai.
2 championships out of a Rumble. The first ever undisputed Women's World Champion. The first ever Sapphire Belt holder. Nia now wants to be the second ever Ruby Belt holder. A feat that no one's been able to do yet is beat Liv Morgan. If Nia wins tonight, she puts herself in good favor of being in said picture. Now earlier tonight, we obviously saw Rhea Ripley earn a victory over Asuka. So I have a feeling Solo Sikoa may line up a date with Nia and Rhea facing off against one another. But for now, Nia has to deal with a former television champion, Dakota Kai. Obviously, that division is seeing title defenses every couple of weeks. With Fallon Henley as champion, she has gone on that 4-week title defensive run, with both her championships on the line in a rotation each week. This week she defended against a woman who had beaten her before in Blake Monroe. Next week, I believe it will be in the main event, Fallon Henley versus Athena. That will certainly slap if I were to describe that matchup. But realistically, as we watch what happens here, Nia Jax needs to really get rolling here against Dakota Kai. Because I think certain women in these divisions have figured out what Nia's game plan always is. And they are starting to wear her down pretty effectively. And just lambast her with big shots. Now, if I'm correct, during the road to the showdown, Nia faced off against Liv Morgan, till losing fair, and I believe the Irresistible Force kind of wants a bit of revenge for that loss. Obviously, she has quite a solid claim to a championship match here on Breakdown. As well, a very dominant champion in her own right. The issue is for her. Number 1 contendership for certain stars always seems to go awry. I mean, probably the biggest example of that is Roman Reigns. The man who, in IPW, never won a number 1 contendership match, was always really given the shot at the champion. And he's only just overcome that situation. We'll see if Nia has that in her kind of issue log. But as it stands, she is currently doing a good job here against Dakota Kai. Now, granted, this isn't a number 1 contendership bout, but she is showcasing why she was a champion of a division that Kai was also a champion in some regard. That mid-card belt division. Stretch muffler applied here by Nia. Forced out of it, though, as Dakota escapes the hold. And this is where Dakota needs to really get Nia planted on the mat. Dakota's taking over. A double stomp to the chest. A boot follows suit through to the middle of the chest. Another boot connects to Nia as, well, Dakota hits that big boot to the face, that TKO type of... Not TKO, that Benadryller type attack. Stomping away on Jax. This is certainly turning into a good situation for Dakota, I'd have to say. Nia's not really been able to get going as Kai runs in, big boot connects to the face of Jax. Why not add some extra boot scrapes? And charging in with another big boot. Kai hits the big shot. And that's what you need to do here against Jax. Heavy, impactful shots. Keep the irresistible force trapped on the mat. And trapped in a situation she does not want to be in. Hurricane Rana from Kai to just force Jax back down to the mat. The situation could get pretty dire for Nia as she's now busted open by Kai. Dakota's showcasing why she is a former champ. Connects with the kicks, and goes up and over. Turns it into a Rings of Saturn. Locked in deep. Legs trapping the arms. Kai relinquishes the hold to head up top. What's she got in mind here? Stomping! A hole in the chest, that coup de grace. 1, 2, no, near fall. What is happening here for the irresistible force? Struggling against Dakota Kai. This is not what she wants to happen. Especially if she wants to challenge Liv Morgan for that Ruby belt. She needs to realistically squash Dakota Kai. Almost immediately at this stage. Kai trying to get back up, but dropped. A leg drop there from Jax. Going to stop her from getting up. Nia calls her up, and now this is what we expected. The one leg trap powerbomb stacks her up. 1, 2, 3. No. Kai kicking out. Surviving the irresistible force. Reversal from Kai. Tries to connect with a kitchen sink. Boot caught. Instead, a drop kick puts Jax down. Kai, no. No, neither woman gonna hit there. Head hits the top turnbuckle and a headbutt from Jax. As the blood trickles down the face of the irresistible force, she annihilates Dakota Kai. 1, 2, 3. An angry Jax wakes up and earns victory against Dakota Kai. Just squashing the former television champ. Crushing the ribcage. It's certainly interesting how Nia does it. As if you look at how Kai is, very similar in terms of stature to Liv Morgan. And I'd say very similar sort of offense in some regards. Nia survived a heavy onslaught of attacks from Dakota to then come back and earn victory. Certainly shows why she deserves to be in the picture of the World Championship here on Breakdown. But that picture will start to shrink as to who gets the shot at Cash Out. We will see as, well, tonight Jax is victorious. I believe she'll have a date with Rhea Ripley in a couple of, well, next week in a #1 contendership match. But until then,
Here is your winner, Nia Jax.
both ladies will reign victorious. And well, next week we've got one hell of a week of action. Tune in for Primetime and Breakdown. It will be recorded in a couple of minutes because there's no IPW Underground this week. I'm not in the country to record it or do it live with you guys. So thank you for joining me this week. I'll see you for Tuesday's Primetime. Peace out.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking